Welcome to our Sanskrit.com. This is lesson 16.
In the previous lesson, lesson 15, we looked at infinitives and the potential passive participle, also called the gerundive. In this lesson, lesson 16, we will start looking at the conjugation of athematic verbs. You would have seen that all verb stems of root classes 1, 4, 6 and 10 ended with an A. For example, bhava, pashya, visha, choraya, etc. Endings are then added to these stems. Stems of the other classes do not end with this A. Verbs from roots of classes 1, 4, 6 and 10 are called thematic verbs and the others are called athematic verbs. We dealt with the formation of thematic verb stems in previous lessons. We will take up athematic verbs in this and the next couple of lessons. The main feature of athematic conjugation is the variation of the stem in a conjugation paradigm. Like the declensional forms of words ending in consonants, the stems show strong and weak forms. The strong and weak forms are indicated here. Note that in verbs of root classes 2, 3 and 7, the endings come directly in contact with the final consonants of the roots ending in consonants, and therefore the sometimes very complicated consonant sandhis may apply. Also, the optative active, the second person singular of the imperative, the third person middle plural and the middle participle are formed differently from the thematic verbs. The personal endings are the same for thematic and athematic verbs, except for the second person singular of the imperative and the third person middle plural of the indicative, the imperfect and the imperative. Let us take the conjugation of class 2 verbs. In class 2, the endings are directly added to the root. The root vowel is gunated if possible in the strong forms. Let us now take the paradigm for the present indicative active of the class 2 root E, go. The personal endings for the present indicative active mentioned in lesson 1 apply here also. Note the gunation in the strong forms. Note also the retroflexion of is in the second person singular. Note also the sandhi in the third person plural. E plus anti becomes yanti. Let us take another paradigm for the present indicative active, the class 2 root ad, eat. Note the consonant sandhis when the of ad meets the consonants of the endings. As an example of the middle forms, let us take the class 2 root as, sit. Note that all forms of the middle conjugation are weak, except the first person's imperative, which we will learn later. Note the sandhi in the second person plural. The s becomes the before the of the ending. Note carefully the third person plural. The ending is ate instead of ante seen in thematic cases. Consonant sandhis that come about when the consonant of the ending hits against the consonant of the root can sometimes produce strange forms. Let us take the conjugation of the common verb dvish, hate. Note the sandhis here. The tha of the ending retroflexes to ta in the presence of the sh of the stem. Look at the second person singular. The sh of the stem reverts to the etymologically original form ka and the is of the endings retroflex. Look at the second person plural. The sh of the stem becomes d and the dh of the ending becomes dh in the combination. Let us take the conjugation of the verb duh, milk, and note the sandhis here. When the h of the stem and the th of the ending meet, it becomes gdh. That is, the h of duh behaves like it is a gh. See Whitney 222 for details of this. Look at second person singular. When the h of the stem meets the s of the ending, the h becomes k and the s retroflexes. A strange occurrence is the aspiration of the starting the to the in some cases. For example, second person singular. This phenomenon occurs in declensions also. We saw in lesson 6 in consonant sandhis that duh plus su becomes dhukshu. See Whitney 155 for a full explanation of this phenomenon. This phenomenon occurs in Greek also. The extremely common root as, b, loses its vowel in weak forms, except where it is protected by the augment as in the imperfect. Note that the second person singular is asi instead of the expected assi. We have come across the word form asti often in our example stories. This is the end of lesson 16. In this lesson, we looked at the conjugation of the present indicative active and middle of some athematic verbs of class 2.